This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch.
1936 Commonwealth, the birth in
Hello, my name is Harry Tumbuatco. We welcome you to the program. Our topic is going to be basically federalism. Now, is it the coming together or is it the coming apart? Now, some 80 years ago, a very popular phrase, I would rather have the Philippines run like hell by Filipinos than run like heaven by Americans. 80 years later, it is definitely run like hell by Filipinos. So what exactly is federalism and where is it going? I don't care much about the implementation or what is being discussed currently and whether it's going to be a con-ass, a con-con. Well, the People's Initiative is gone. So either one or the other. Of course, there are many other issues we all have to understand, but what is the content? How do we begin to understand federalism? I've decided that I think it is best and most relevant to actually tackle the issue of federalism, because there's many aspects of federalism that you and I do not understand. And it's time that you, sitting back there in front of this television screen, to understand exactly what is federalism and how will this affect you. With us, we have Guillermo Santos, Professor Gil Santos, from the University of Lyceum University of the Philippines, who has studied this issue many years, and we continue to discuss all these issues. And your point, right when we started the show, when we were talking before we opened the show, he was saying that people need to understand what exactly federalism is. So let's begin with that.
Well, what I mean by that, Harry, exactly is this. Unless the people understand and appreciate how it's going to benefit them, they're not going to go for it. Why? Because the popular perception is you are going to have federalism, therefore you're going to have separate states.
Correct.
Now, there are some group, there's one group now, this is specifically the group of former Chief Justice Puno, who says there must be 11
advocates for federalism.
Yes, 11 regions
11.
or states. He is with Nene Pimentel and Badong Enriquez, and they're all for that. However, they are explaining it now generally in legalist terms, and not very many people understand the legal terms. Therefore, what they need really, what federalism needs really is communicator. The communicators must be able to simplify. For example, how is taxation going to affect me?
Ayun, importante yan.
I am a person,
Tama yan,
I live in Iloilo, for example, or I live in Mindanao. Now, do I get taxed? Do I have a VAT for the tax? Because taxation is going to be partly devolved to the region or to the state, whatever you want to call it, and partly to the central government, the central federal state. Now, unless they understand what it means, they will say, for Christ's sake, I'm going to have a double whammy.
Double tax.
Is that a double whammy? No, because in most federalism systems have a centralized taxation, but there is a definite proportionate division of the tax collection. In short,
how it will be spent.
Yes, how will it be spent? In short, they're going to have a working budget. Now, we all know that our government, the central government, doesn't work with a real working budget like you and I know in the corporate world. You know, they just say, okay, add 10% to last year's budget, and that is it. And that is why you always have shortages in the fiscal activities
just
of the
keep
government.
growing.
No, it cannot go that way. So, budget making is one very, very technical thing that people in the federal state or a
But
federal
in
government
theory,
must know.
Gil, ikaw, where do you stand? Are you for federalism or are you for retaining the unitary form of government that we have?
I am for federalism of the Philippine version. Ah.
Is in your mind, because in theory, federalism is the coming together of different states
Correct.
that will create like the United States.
Yes.
Ideally, a united Europe, diba? Ideally, which they've been doing for 10 years.
More.
More, yeah, but you know, through the EU, they're
Yeah.
hopefully coming together. Pero,
Remember, the EU started in 1957.
oh, there you go. There you go. Now, in our case, we're already singular. We are one government. We are one country. So are we coming together or are we coming apart?
Both. Again,
yun na nga.
both, depending on how you look at it. Now, if I look at it from the point of view of rational, sustainable development, which means you have to manage your resources, which includes humans, the logistics, the money, the natural resource, the minerals,
Agriculture,
the food,
yeah.
the agriculture, lahat yan, no? All of it must be managed in such a way that there is an ecological balance. In
So
short,
the integral parts must come together as a comprehensive unit.
yes. In short, your local government or your state must have its own budget. Let's say, in my concept, it should be 65% for the local government,
Ngayon baliktad, it's 60-40, 60 for the national, 40 for the local.
even less.
Yes, I know, may deductions pa yan.
May
Depending
deduction pa,
if you're an income earner or not.
That's right.
And
yeah.
population.
Yeah. Now, if you have it at 65-35, then you can retain the 5 major functions of a central government,
Military.
federal or Republican unitary state. That means you have your monetary policy,
One money.
one money only. Number 2, foreign policy.
Isa lang.
Isa lang yun. Whether it's negotiating for trade, military alliance,
Regardless.
whatever it is,
One
defense.
voice.
One voice only. Number 3, you must have the ability to defend the integrity of your territory.
So the AFP.
Yeah. Yes, so that's the military, Then another one is you must have your own communication system. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand each other. Considering that we have right now 81 provinces, with how many dialects? 87 dialects, mind you.
Magulo.
Not only that, every province has its own culture. So, you will have to come together. That's why I'm saying it must be explained in full. And that information, call it propaganda, call it information, call it understanding or propagation of truly understanding what it is, it will have to take, at least in my mind, 2 years.
Well, there was an article written recently by former retired Supreme Court Justice Mendoza, wherein he allots a minimum of 3 years per state, assuming. And that's how it will come together. Of course, he's negative. He's not an advocate for federalism. The idea now is for the people to understand whether we're coming together for a better reason, which is to help the poor or not. But if I'm not mistaken, when you mention the word local government, we already have that. We already have the local government. If you're talking about money, isn't it simpler to amend the current constitution as to the percentages?
That's exactly the problem,
Diba?
Harry. That's the problem.
We can be already there without having to change.
Yeah.
Because, diba, federalism, to my mind, based on the theory I've been reading, theories are basic theories. We can create our own. Nothing's written in stone that the Filipino needs to follow. Diba?
Right,
We have our
right.
own legislation. But understanding what it is, do we strengthen the country and improve the lives of the poor using federalism as the guide, the main objective? This is the heartfelt objective of president, President Digong,
Yes.
who really believes ganun dapat. Kasi mayor siya nun eh.
Correct.
Nakita
Oh,
niya yung
nakita niya.
Oh.
inadequacies, naipit siya, kaya hindi nag-grow, tsaka kapwa niyang mayor. Alam mo, kawawa tayo dito sa Imperial Manila. He is correct. Kawawa ka talaga.
That's right,
But
that's right.
hindi kaya dapat i-amend na lang natin, ibalik rin na lang natin, mas madali. Kesa mag-federal state, lalaki ang, I mean,
The problem, Bahari, is just amending it. The local government people who are not getting the time from the central government to explain it to them.
but do they even know what they're doing, local government? Are they already expert enough? It seems to me, local
No.
government. Yeah, yun na nga eh.
No,
They-
because remember,
May incompetence eh.
there is no requirement for the elective official to run except that he is literate,
Oh, read and write.
read and write, and not even functional literacy. That's different. You know?
Iba pa yun.
Iba pa yun, no?
So kung Asperger disease ka, pwede.
Correct. Oh. So what happens now is you must have somebody who is going to explain that. I'll give you one example. You know, everybody knows Sixto Rojas, Ting Rojas, who founded Bancom.
Yes,
here.
Bancom.
He's
Legendary yan eh.
Yeah. He has a group now that is a consultant for local governments. And you know what they do? They have project studies and they teach the local government people how to earn money. They have, local governments now have the capability to raise money on their own, but they don't know how. You see, they don't realize that they have it. So they don't even use it until Ting Rojas and his associates point it out to them. No, so they've done it for Palawan. They've done it for Pangasinan, you know. They've done it for other cities. And if that is duplicated, see, you don't have to have 3 or 4 years. You can have only 2 years. But that's a secret by itself, you know. At the Futuristic Center, years back, when Cory Aquino was going to have the Constitutional Commission, remember?
Yes.
1986, 1987?
87, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The CONCOM.
What we did was we organized a group of 400 people. And these are the gatekeepers. We call them gatekeepers of their communities. Even the Lumads were represented, you know. And so you determine what the people need and what the people want. Those are two different things. So you can have in a representative kind of consultative meetings in the different regions of the country. Remember, there are only 15 regions, you know. So you can have
18.
18, okay.
18.
So you can have all the 18, whatever number you have, all the 18 into one. So you have 18 people now, no? So the 18 people now can be reduced to 5. Then they can be reduced to 3. Then they can be reduced to 1. So if you can do that, and that can be done within a period of 2 months each. So if you have 4 processes, that's only 8 months. So you can have it in 1 year. And after another year, explaining it to them in full how they're going to earn, how they're going to raise their own income, knowing the natural resources they have, knowing the employability of the people they have, the education levels that they all have, and in short, productivity.
But
That's
the
what it
assumption is the people you're going to be talking to, educating and consulting with, the assumption is there is competence already that exists with local government.
Well, there is, but you have to be very, very incisive in getting them.
Do they actually exist? I mean, meron ba sa ARM? It doesn't seem like there is other than the governor. Meron kaya sa La Union other than the oligarchs and the dynasts?
Okay.
Hindi kaya, kasi they're the ones who lead. In La Union, there's only really one family. Almost in every region today, and in almost every district, they're what you call, they started out as dynasties, being the congressmen, the mayors, the governors, and then they became the oligarchs, which is the well-entrenched businessman who owns the whole place.
Well, this is where you can use the schools, because the schools have political
But
scientists.
hasn't education and the Department of Education failed us since the birth of this republic? I remember the August Halls of Congress about 40 years ago when the senators and the congressmen came from public schools. Today, they're either Ateneo or LaSalle or trained in abroad.
And they're still incompetent.
Oh, no, but there is intended incompetence. It seems the competence will only go to a certain way, and then after that, the intention turns towards the pocket or personal interest. This is what's deceived our country and deceived our people.
Well, admittedly, Harry, this is a cultural flaw.
Oo,
and
agreed.
When it comes to
which DepEd has failed.
yes, and when it comes to cultural flaws, you have to have the correction, which is generational in
Generational.
nature, no,
Correct.
in time frames. But you can shorten that. You can accordion it depending on how you choose which ones. They should not make the present congressman choose them. No, no way.
Hindi pwede.
No, hindi pwede.
But who else can run? Kasi sino naman tatakbo dyan? Ang gagaling. These people have the money. They have the means. They're the oligarch nga. They
Yes,
own everything.
yeah.
How can you compete against them?
Well, this is what I say. I am asking the impossible, because it has to be funded by the people who are in the elite, because they have the funds.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
only source.
Yes, that is the ideal. Whether they'll do it or not is another thing. You see, now the other portion is the money that the elite will provide will go to the people who can explain it, the communicators. Understandably, and I admit it, getting the communicators is going to be a tough problem. It's one of the toughest problems.
Nakakadapa yan.
The 87 languages or dialects that we have alone is going to be a very, very huge deterrent. You know, it's a wall.
Barrier.
You know? But nevertheless, we don't have to give up, because if we give up, we might as well give up now. we have to start somewhere. And I think this is the time to start it.
We're going to have to take a short break, Gil, but let me try and summarize briefly. It seems there are a lot more disadvantages and sensitivities towards the coming together or the introduction of the coming apart, or what we call federalism, either or. It seems the sensitivities are unsurmountable. And it's true, be it the communicators, funding from the elite, a generational gap, and or the academe, or the whole gamut of what it takes to educate the masses. It seems there's more against it than keeping the unitary government as it is. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. We'll take this short break, but do understand, we are not telling you we go federalism or we do not go federalism. It's our president who says we go federalism. And the rate it's going at Congress, it will happen. They're already discussing how to implement it and how to go towards it. Now, the bigger issue is the content of the concept of how you and I should understand it. How should we understand it? How do we improve it? And how do we become part of it? Because if it is theoretically the coming together, it seems more at this point coming apart. We'll be right back. It does.